What if every time we threw away food, we were throwing away more than just the leftovers? Let me tell you about someone who didn't waste food. She didn't use an app to track her groceries. She didn't have a compost bin or a sustainability hashtag. Hard to believe, but she didn't even have a refrigerator. She just used what she had. Leftovers became lunch, bones and scraps became broth, bread crusts became breadcrumbs. Even the non-edibles like peels became feed or fertilizer. And not because she was trying to be eco-friendly, but because that's just how people lived. Nothing went to waste. Throwing away food was unheard of. That someone was my grandmother, just like most others in her generation. She was not just being frugal, she was practicing a wisdom we have since lost. And I sometimes wonder, how did she, without data, or climate reports, or UN goals, manage to live more sustainably than most of us do today? Let's zoom out. Every year, the world wastes about 1.05 billion metric tons of food. That's 19% of all food produced. The cost? Over $1 trillion annually, not counting the 10% of global greenhouse gases this waste contributes to. Here's another way to picture this. If food waste were a country, it would be the third largest emitter of greenhouse gases, right behind the US and China. And in the US, where food is abundant and cheap, we are among the biggest culprits. Meanwhile, over 800 million people worldwide are food insecure. UN estimates the cost of ending hunger as $330 billion. That means the food we waste could, in theory, feed every hungry person on the planet twice. But here's the strange part. We are more informed than ever. We know about climate change. We know people go hungry. Yet we still waste. Why? That's the question my co-authors and I wanted to answer in our recent study published in the Journal of Food Service Business Research. We surveyed 309 US households and built a new model to test what really drives food waste. This is important because when food gets wasted at the consumer level, at our homes, in our kitchens, that's where the damage is greatest. It is different than the apple you didn't pick in the field, because by that point, all the water, energy, and human effort invested is lost forever. Here's what we found. First, there are supply-side pressures, things coming from the marketplace. Think about retail promotions. Buy one, get one free sounds like a bargain. Family size, mega size purchases are great. But in reality, many families told us it meant bringing home more food than they needed. And when the fridge is packed full, some of that food quietly expires in the back corner. Our data showed retail promotions have a measurable effect on household waste. Then there are demand-side pressures, things that come from us, consumers. Holiday habits was one. We associate generosity with abundance, especially during holidays. So we overcook and overserve. In our study, this came through clearly. We call it conspicuous generosity, when abundance becomes a performance of care, but much of the food never gets eaten. Also, there was utilitarian benefits. This one surprised us. People often waste food not out of ignorance, but out of convenience. Throwing something away clears fridge space, it avoids the work of repurposing, it keeps the kitchen tidy. In fact, our data showed that utilitarian benefits were the strongest predictor of food waste. And here's the kicker. People don't feel much guilt when wasting food unless it's framed as a moral issue. Our data showed moral norms acquired through our upbringing have a significant impact on our attitudes toward food waste. So let's discuss the missing moral layer. Aristotle had a concept called telos, the idea that everything has an inherent purpose. An acorn's telos is to become an oak tree. A knife's telos is to cut. Imagine a knife that doesn't cut, right? It's a sad, lonely knife. A teacher's telos is to teach. So what's the telos of food? To nourish, to sustain. When we throw food away, not because it's spoiled, but because it's inconvenient, we are not just being inefficient. We are violating its purpose, its intrinsic value. And it's not just the food, it's the human care that went into it. When your mom cooks for you, you don't just have a couple of dollars on your plate. You have her love, her labor, her care. And when you toss it away, you waste all of that too. That's what makes food waste not just a financial or an environmental issue, but a moral one. Let me go back to the utilitarian benefits, the convenience of waste. What does that actually look like in our daily lives? Let's think about that. We don't waste because we are evil or ignorant. We waste because we are tired, we are busy, we are overwhelmed. Picture this. You come home, open the fridge, and see three containers. One has rice from Wednesday, another has half a salad, another has last night's pasta. You sigh, close the door, and order takeout. You tell yourself you'll eat the leftovers tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. A small decision doesn't feel like much in the moment, but multiplied across millions of households, it becomes mountains of food. And here's the truth. Nothing with meaning is truly replaceable. So the challenge isn't just logistical, it's emotional, cultural, philosophical. Food isn't just fuel, it's a signal of our values, and wasting it says something we may not want to admit. So what can we do? Here are three simple, research-backed practical actions. Plan better. You want to plan better to avoid unintended purchases. Make shopping lists. Don't fall for the promotions you don't need. Buy local so you don't have to go to the giant supermarket to buy a truckload of food. For instance, people buy more food when they are hungry. Don't shop when you're hungry. When you buy more than you need, it's no surprise that some of that food ends up in the trash. Understand food labels. Sell by is not same as use by. Much of what we throw out is still perfectly edible. In fact, confusion over labeling is one of the biggest drivers of avoidable waste. And use what you have. Leftovers are not a failure, they are a second chance. Many cultures specialize in this. Italians make frittata with leftover pasta. Turkish families turn yesterday's bread into tomorrow's börek. Everything could be an ingredient. But maybe the biggest shift is how we think about food itself. If we frame waste only as a financial issue, wealthy households may shrug it off. If we reduce it to an environmental issue, it can be politicized. But if we recognize the purpose of food and the care that goes into it, wasting it becomes much harder to justify. A farmer grew it, someone packed it, you paid for it. It wants and needs to be eaten. So next time you're about to toss the half-eaten sandwich or those slightly squishy strawberries, pause. Ask yourself, is this really trash? Or is it a moment I didn't respect? Because the tomato wanted to become a part of a meal. The bread wanted to be broken and shared. And every bite you save is an act of care. Food has a purpose. Let's not waste it. Thank you.